Welcome to Soni and Source.
Whether you're here to unlock the universal laws, master manifestation, or explore psi abilities like telepathy, precognition, channeling, and more, you're in the right place.
And you'll get the most out of it if you take just a few minutes to listen to this message.
If you've been doing everything the manifestation gurus have taught you, but the money, the relationship, or the breakthrough you've been craving still hasn't arrived, then listen for just a moment. Because what you're about to hear isn't just another technique that works for some and not others. It's a proven step-by-step formula anyone can follow to unlock a life more abundant, more fulfilling, and more magical than you ever imagined possible. Stay with me until the very end of this video and your life could look radically different starting today. Not too long ago, I was at a gas station filling up our RV before a camping trip. A curious young man at the next pump saw the cost and shouted, "Man, that's what it costs to fill up? That's insane!" I chuckled and replied, "If you think that's insane, I have a friend who spends $50,000 just to fill up his yacht. And Steve Jobs paid 10 times that amount to fill up his." His eyes went wide in disbelief. "I could never afford that," he said, as if that kind of wealth was permanently out of reach for him. But here's what he did not know. At his age, I was homeless, struggling to survive. My friend earning less than $10,000 a year, and Steve Jobs sleeping on floors, trading Coke bottles for money, walking miles just to eat a free meal at the Hare Krishna temple. So how did we all manifest the life of our wildest dreams? Because we all followed the same formula. My name is Matt, and my wife Soni and I are entrepreneurs who built several successful companies from the ground up and retired early to live the life of our dreams. And now I'm about to show you exactly how we did it, using real-life examples of my friend Kim and Steve Jobs. We first met Kim on a Law of Attraction cruise. At the end of the trip, she asked for our contact info, and from that moment on, she made it a ritual to treat us to dinner when she visited her vacation home in Florida. As our friendship deepened, we learned that years earlier, as a single mother, Kim had built a software company from the ground up, one that eventually blossomed into a thriving brand, serving over 25,000 schools. Yet, despite that success, a situation with her company left her feeling deeply stuck. She had tried everything to resolve it, but the answer eluded her. One evening over dinner, with genuine desire and trust, Kim turned to us for guidance because she knew that we had a little bit of magic, the kind that transforms lives. What you may not know is this. Nearly a decade after we retired, we awakened a rare spiritual ability to stream the infinite intelligence of Source and receive clear guidance in human words, known as channeling, similar to Abraham Hicks or Bashar. And Source doesn't just give random advice. They scan your vibrational broadcast, identifying not only the root cause of your challenge, but also the precise path to resolution. But here's the catch. Following that guidance often requires going against your deeply rooted habits, and for many, that feels anything but natural. Kim, however, was done feeling stuck. So when Source gave her precise steps to follow, she listened intently, reflected deeply, and followed through on that guidance, precisely and completely. Not long after that, Kim called us, her voice practically bursting through the phone. Her company had just been acquired by one of the wealthiest dynasties on the planet. It was a defining moment, the kind that sets you free, and it also came with a jaw-dropping payout. Kim is finally living her dream life. She now pours her heart into passion projects that uplift children and change lives. She recently admitted that she is finally doing what she always wanted to do. Sometimes that's all it takes. One piece of guidance, tailored to your specific situation. And just like that, you go from stuck to living a life you once believed was out of reach. Hidden within Kim's story are lessons outlining the proven formula. Let's break it down step by step so you can follow it too. Lesson number 1. Recognize the path of ease. Everyone wants things to manifest easily, but when the path of ease appears, most people can't even recognize it. Why? Because they're still addicted to struggle. They've spent so long fighting and hustling that when ease finally arrives, it feels unfamiliar, untrustworthy, even undeserved. For example, on that Law of Attraction cruise where we met Kim, people would pay money and stand in long lines to fight over good seats, hoping they would be chosen by the channel to ask a question and receive guidance. When word spread that we were also gifted channels and could provide the same guidance for free, two patterns emerged. People like Kim, who instantly recognized they had manifested ease. They gave up the struggle and chose to relax on the beach with us while receiving source guidance. Then there were others who continued standing in line, elbowing their way to the front, still trying to earn their moment. And when they didn't get picked, they came searching for us at the last minute when it was too late. The lesson is this: learn to recognize ease when it appears. Don't wait until you're exhausted or desperate to notice that the very thing you've been waiting for has arrived, just not in the form you expected. Lesson number 2. Follow the map. There is a sacred sequence to activate your manifestation based on a co-creative agreement between you and the universe called the MAP. MAP is a double acronym meaning the Manifestation Activation Protocol and also make the decision, act immediately, pass the tests. That's the magic sequence. When you follow the map, you signal the universe, I am ready for my manifestation. Did Kim follow the map? Yes. The moment Kim realized she could receive the same source guidance others were flying across oceans to find, she made her decision, fast. That was step 1, make the decision. Before the trip ended, she took our contact information and promised to treat us to dinner the next time she visited Florida. And she meant it. That was step 2, acting immediately and from inspiration, the kind that rises from desire, not from desperation. But the third step, passing the test, is where most people fall off the path. What they don't realize is this: every time you make a life-changing decision and take inspired action, almost always the universe will test you, not to punish you, but to see if you're prepared to receive. And most people give up right there, mistaking the test for a sign they shouldn't move forward. The very first time Kim visited Florida, she planned a 4-hour drive to honor her commitment to treat us to dinner. Then, her car broke down. Most people would have canceled, but not Kim. She got a rental car, and that rental also broke down. Most would have said, this is a sign I'm not meant to go. But not Kim. She exchanged rental cars, started driving, and ran into massive traffic. Again, most people would have just turned around. But Kim, she kept choosing faith over frustration. From afar, Soni and I watched the events unfold, knowing she was being tested. Secretly, we were cheering her on. Keep going, Kim. Pass the tests. You're almost there. And she did. She made it to dinner and proved to the universe that she was ready to receive. Do you know why so many people who learn the law of attraction never manifest anything? Because they are waiting for the universe to deliver their dream on a silver platter. The universe responds to waiting by keeping you waiting, because that wasn't the co-creative agreement. Manifestation is a divine dance that only begins when you take the first step. You take the leap of faith, and the universe catches you. That is the co-creative agreement. Follow the map and you'll find your treasure. Lesson number 3. Choose your teachers wisely. In today's world of curated personas and digital illusions, this is the most important lesson of all. Let me share a story, one that still breaks our hearts. A dear friend of ours, a devoted fitness expert who had poured his entire life into building a successful studio, suddenly announced he was shutting it all down. Why? Because he had manifested a soulmate, a woman he believed was building a billion-dollar life coaching brand. She had everything going for her. Magazine covers, luxury mansions, private jets, famous friends. Her face had become the very image of success in manifestation coaching, complete with TV and radio shows, magazine features, books, seminars, and retreats. People lined up to learn from her and paid top dollars for the privilege. So our friend gave up everything and moved in with her. And then silence, until we heard the truth. Behind the facade of elegance, confidence, and class was a reality that would shatter everything you thought you knew. Our friend discovered that she was an insecure alcoholic who would regularly pass out in the yard, often without clothes, leaving him to care for her children while she spiraled. He lost everything, his business, his foundation, and had to start over from scratch. Even after the breakup, she continued to deceive the next wave of seekers, but eventually the truth caught up to her. She was sued for allegedly stealing up to $20 million from coaches and investors in what was described as a Ponzi scheme. This is not just a cautionary tale about relationships, it's a warning about the cost of choosing the wrong teacher. Are you familiar with the one who took the channel teachings of Abraham, turned them into a best-selling movie, and presented herself and others as law of attraction experts, one of whom performed a ceremony where 3 people died? We've seen this again and again. Someone poses as a manifestation expert, teaches material they barely understand, and people pay the price. Literally. Why? Because in today's world, deception is easy and rewarded. We've been trained to trust the wrong things, a perfectly curated persona, a flawless feed, a dazzling digital presence, and a flood of followers. We mistake branding for evidence, wealth for wisdom, and the loudest voice for the truest one. But here's the truth. Digital presence can be bought, faked, even AI generated. Remember the famous documentary, The Tinder Swindler? He used a carefully curated digital persona to convince women he was a wealthy jet-setter, only to gain their trust and make them fall in love, and then scam them out of approximately $10 million. The self-empowerment industry is now so saturated with deceptions that even the reputable media outlets have issued public warnings. So, how do you find real teachers? Let's take Steve Jobs as an example. One book shaped his life more than any other, Autobiography of a Yogi by Yoganand. He read it as a teenager and reread it every single year of his life. It was the only book he downloaded on his iPad. And in a final act that spoke volumes, he left a copy of this book as a gift to every attendee at his funeral, including powerful figures like Larry Page, co-founder of Google, and Bob Iger, former CEO of Disney. It was his last and the most important message to them all. But why this book? Because Jobs was a genius who knew how to choose the right teachers. Autobiography of a Yogi reveals a world hidden from the masses, a world where psi abilities are real, trainable, and evidence of spiritual mastery. Telepathy, precognition, channeling, instant manifestation, longevity, levitation, energy healing, and many more. These aren't myths. These are documented psi abilities developed by mystics over thousands of years using blueprints passed down from source. Blueprints that are deliberately hidden from the masses. And hear me when I say this, they are the original tools for limitless creation. That's why there are countless documented cases of mystics manifesting things most people can't even comprehend. Steve Jobs didn't just understand this, he leveraged it to turn Apple into one of the most valuable companies on the planet. Here's the real secret. The fastest path to manifesting isn't found in affirmations, vision boards, or surface-level law of attraction teachings. It is unlocking the psi abilities you were born with. Abilities most people don't even know they have, let alone how to develop them. The most important reason for choosing teachers with psi abilities was recently revealed in the Telepathy Tapes, the viral podcast that proved psi abilities with scientific experiments. It was revealed that psi abilities never bloom in ego or malice. They awaken only in those pure enough to carry the current of Source. Every teacher in Autobiography of a Yogi carried the current of Source. In other words, Source qualified them to teach. Here's the truth that today's spiritual and manifestation gurus don't want you to know about. If they can't prove genuine psi abilities, they don't carry the current of Source that qualifies them to teach. Without it, they're just reciting source material they barely understand, wrapped in eloquence to fool the masses into believing they're learning from an expert. Remember, every teacher in Autobiography of a Yogi publicly demonstrated psi abilities. Now Google the top 5 spiritual and manifestation teachers in America and you probably won't find even one with psi abilities. How is it possible for someone to be a top spiritual teacher without spiritual abilities? Because in today's world, those who teach know it not, and those who know teach it not. Don't be their next victim. My friend and many others have already paid the ultimate price for not knowing how to choose the right teacher. That's why Steve Jobs chose Yoganand. And maybe that's why you're here now. Because we too carry the current of Source. But what you may not know is this. We never set out to become spiritual teachers or develop psi abilities. After early retirement, we moved to Florida and embraced a new life. One filled with abundance of joy, love, and adventure. With our newfound freedom, we plunged deep into our spiritual practices. Then, on my birthday, it happened. I emerged from meditation and stepped into the most profound experience of my life. For the first time ever, Source spoke through me in human words, and just days later, through my wife, then through another member of our family. What followed was beyond anything we could have ever imagined. We evolved beyond channeling, and psi abilities started to emerge. And before long, using these abilities, we had apprehended a notorious burglar who was terrorizing the city and had eluded the police. It felt like we had stepped into a science fiction movie, except it was our new reality. The internal shift created by the psi abilities was so vast and beyond logic that at first we kept it a secret. But our secret didn't last long. On that Law of Attraction cruise where we met Kim, her friend sensed what was happening the moment she looked into Soni's eyes, because she also had a spiritual gift of her own. The jig was up, and for the first time in that safe and spiritually aligned setting, we felt comfortable enough to reveal our secret. Word spread quickly. People on the ship started approaching us, seeking guidance from Source on their deepest challenges. Conversation after conversation flowed, and Source spoke to each person with love, care, and knowing. Many of those moments ended in tears, not sorrow, but joy and recognition. People felt the elevation that comes from being in the energy field of Source. We stepped off that cruise overflowing with joy and gratitude, and that's when Source dropped a suggestion I never saw coming. You should consider becoming teachers. I laughed, more out of disbelief than humor, because they knew Soni is incredibly shy. We avoided the public eye, stayed off social media, and built a secluded life rooted in nature, wrapped in peace, and far from all the noise. And now, Source suggested we do the opposite? Go from running companies to running retreats? From spreadsheets to spirit guides? From living quietly to woo-woo all the way? It felt absurd, so we did not give in. Not yet. Until we started seeing results like Kim's and realized that it would be a waste to keep Source wisdom to ourselves and not help others. That was the moment we said yes. Yes to teaching. Yes to reminding you of the power of your spiritual gifts, because it is overdue. That's why we created SourceLine, your direct line to Source, when you need guidance the most. SourceLine unlocks not one, not two, but 3 ground floor opportunities. Opportunities so rare you simply won't find them anywhere else. The first one is called Ask Anything. Anytime you have a question, you just ask Source and receive your guidance. Simple, direct, easy. The second opportunity goes even deeper. If you've been trying to manifest but keep hitting that invisible wall, this is where Source steps in. In a private session, Source scans your vibrational broadcast and delivers a precise solution tailored exactly to your situation, just like they did for Kim. And as if that weren't enough, there is a third, something even more powerful. It's called energy clearing, our most famous blowout session, where Source clears away the resistance, the kind you simply can't release on your own. Imagine the cost of living with your fears, phobias, and traumas and the heavy toll they extract from you. Never being able to manifest your deepest desires and never knowing how to remove these blocks. Sometimes not even knowing what blockages you have and how they keep you from achieving your dreams. You don't have to know because Source knows, and they also know how to blow them away, clearing your path to manifestation. This was never meant to be offered publicly. For years, it was reserved only for us, until one moment at our last retreat, we felt compelled and offered a clearing to blow away one young woman's lifelong phobia of birds. She still writes to us, sharing how her world has opened up. She came back for more guidance and found the strength to replace a toxic relationship with a blissful one. At this very moment, she is out touring Europe with her new man. And it's not until you clear these blocks that your own natural psi abilities begin to emerge. Awakening your own natural abilities gives you limitless inner power and makes you unstoppable in your quest for amazing health, fulfilling relationships, a thriving career, and abundant wealth. Remember, your fastest path to manifesting isn't watered down surface level tricks from the manifestation gurus, it's unlocking the psi abilities you were born with. Source once provided comfort to a couple who had lost their entire life savings, over $1 million in a devastating scam, all because they couldn't read the vibration of scammers posing as bank agents. Would you rather take that kind of risk? Or sense the deception the moment they speak? Would you rather search for a soulmate through exhausting trial and error of dating, or feel their energy and know instantly with certainty? Would you rather rely on guesswork for life's biggest decisions, or receive guidance so precise it feels like the universe is whispering the answer in your ear? Imagine what people spend on college education and they don't learn any of these things. Or you can take the path of ease like Kim and transform your life. What is that worth? Decades ago, I paid $10,000 for a clearing audio that didn't even come close to the surgical precision with which Source clears resistance. Even at that price, it was a bargain because it contributed to us manifesting millions down the road. But it's not going to be $10,000 or even half of that. We've had people offer us $2,000 for a single clearing session, but it's not going to be even that. We know the suffering of being stuck and not knowing how to get out. Like Kim, we want to help as many as possible, which is why, for a limited time, I'm going to slice those prices and then I'm going to slice them even further, making it so low it's nothing compared to the cost of staying stuck. You can connect with Source and receive precise guidance for challenges you could never solve alone, dissolve resistance you could never clear on your own, and manifest what you could never manifest alone. And here's the part that shocks people every time. You can experience all of this for less than what most people spend on coffee each day. And the best part is, you don't have to risk a thing. Why are we being so generous? Because you were meant to awaken. That's why Source delivered these blueprints to us in the first place. Once you experience the divine spark within you and you realize what you're capable of with the right training, you can never go back to your old self, and you'll constantly have a desire to grow, become better, and transform your life experience like we did. If that sounds good to you, here's something even better. You can use these services whenever you need them, or Plug in as a monthly member for maximum benefits. And when you join as a monthly member, you unlock a string of powerful bonuses like additional discounts, instant access to fresh source transmissions, and unlimited access to the entire library of past transmissions. But here's the best part. Imagine being part of a community of beings who have unlocked unimaginable wonders. Imagine discovering magic within yourself and then having friends who also carry magic. It would be the most empowering community anywhere in the world, and you'll never feel alone again. Because the best part of being one with Source is knowing that the universe is your wingman, and anything is possible when the universe is your wingman. But we can only offer so many sessions each day, and the schedule fills up quickly, so we have a hard limit on the number of members in the community because we want to make sure we can give every member all the support they need. If you join the Sourceline community and after the first month, you don't feel like it was worth at least 10 times what you paid for it, we'll give you your money back. So ask yourself, isn't it easier to find your soulmate when you can feel their energy the moment you meet? Isn't it easier to know without a shred of doubt whether someone is being real with you? Isn't it easier to move forward in life when you already see where the path leads? Recognize the path of ease and follow the map. Here are the specific details on how to get started. Simply click the Sourceline button around here and select the option that calls you. Enter your details in the secure checkout and you're done. And once you've tried Sourceline, you'll receive a very special bonus, the missing second half of the formula in this video, the part that turns knowing what's possible into actually living it. But I do have to warn you, this one-time offer is giving you a pretty big discount, so it is only for people that have had the time to sit through this entire video. It is a thank you for spending this much time with me. We can only accept a limited number of members in the community, so if you're seeing this video, it probably means there are still spots available, but if you're interested, I suggest you get in now, before someone else takes your spot. Awakening our spiritual abilities is the single most amazing thing we've ever done, and it would be the most amazing experience of anyone's entire life. That's why I urge you to take a stand today. Say that you're no longer going to accept a life that's less than magical and miraculous. Click the link below to try Sourceline today. There is only one favor I ask, and that is this. When you see the results this gives you, let us know. Share your story to awaken others. Now it's up to you. You carry on as you've always been, or you can try Sourceline risk-free right now. You have absolutely nothing to lose and a whole incredible, magical new life to gain. My name is Matt. My wife Soni and I are two of the rare few to evolve beyond channeling, carrying the qualifying current of Source, entrusted with both the most up-to-date Source wisdom and the ancient blueprints. And we cannot wait for you to take the action and finally live the life you deserve. Just click the button below to get started.